Hey, this is Rustin with Metalholic Magazine and Mojo Radio, and with me is Ian Astbury of The Cult and any other number of projects. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. I'm glad you had a few minutes to talk today. You're a very busy man.
Yes, sir.
You recently recorded the track Ghost for Slash's solo record. You're sort of on a short break from The Cult's Love Live tour. Now the BXI project with Boris. Where do you find the time?
Well, to be honest with you, I kind of sandwiched the Boris project in between a Cult tour. I was heading out to Australia and Japan anyway, so it just kind of fit in with my plans, so that fit in really well. I spent a lot of time in airports.
I can imagine. Your voice is not only one of the most identifiable voices in rock music, but because of its uniqueness, you sort of own any song you perform. Basically, you're not just a singer, but you become part of the song, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's nice. That's a nice compliment.
So how does an English lad living in New York connect with an experimental rock band in Japan?
Yes, good question. I heard the Pink album in 2005, and I saw Boris perform in Knitting Factory in New York, and was incredibly smitten with him. I mean, I was kind of aware of them before a little bit. I'd heard things like Feedbacker and some of the earlier stuff, but it wasn't really until I saw them perform live that I really got it. I mean, seeing Wassa play live was just phenomenal, and Takeshi and Atsuo, I was just absolutely mesmerized. And then I started to solicit their agency about performing with the Cult, and it would never work out. We were, different times. They were on tour in one part of the world, we were on tour in another part of the world. Never worked out. And also, I was trying to see them at other times, see Sun as well, because I was heavily into Sun as well. And Sun and Boris kind of happened about the same time, about 2005. I think Dark One came out, Black One, I should say, came out in 2005, and Pink came out in 2005. So all of a sudden, Southern Lord's on the map, Sun's on the map, and Boris on the map, and I just became completely indulged in what they were doing. And again, I reached out to their agency, and then eventually through the agent, I got to meet Greg and Steven from Sun, and I saw Sun perform last year, and they helped to facilitate an introduction to Boris. And then Boris kind of just went away and proposed a collaboration with me, and I was blown away by that, and that's kind of how it loosely came together.
So what was it like sort of going in with your background against their sort of experimental background, as really different cultures sort of getting together and combining? What was it like to sort of collaborate on this?
Well, I mean, music's an intuitive form, so it's really about, although on the outside it may appear that there's kind of different food groups being mixed, it's, I mean, a lot of my initial influences were more in things like Public Image and Joy Division, and sort of more the eclectic end of things like the Velvet Underground and, I guess, Iggy Pop, Berlin albums, David Bowie. So I had a kind of an awareness and a sensibility around more experimental or progressive music in that sense, and also working with the Doors. I mean, working with Ray and Robbie. I mean, if you look at their arrangements, look at their, the musical canon of the Doors, there's a lot of experimentation in that. So it wasn't as unfamiliar a place to walk into for me. It was really about the sentimentality of the songs and what the music they presented to me, and what that kind of made me feel. So it became about this intuitive thing, and then words started to come up, ideas started to come up, and I was given music a few months before I went over to Tokyo, and I just started to live with it. And I picked out the 3 tracks that I really liked, and then from there, from there I just started to piece the songs together. And in late April, I went over and recorded the songs. You know what? Immediately, I started singing melodies as soon as I heard the music. So it's all music. It's it doesn't matter what kind of context it's in. The melodies, rhythms, working in that space. It's an intuitive space.
You guys did 4 tracks total.
Yeah.
Was that a timing issue?
Well, it was to do with more about quality control. I mean, the idea of going in... See, here's part of my thing now, is recording an album can take an immense amount of time and a great undertaking. When you're trying to work on 10 songs at once, they tend to bleed into each other. You don't get the best out of each song, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're kind of working on 10 things, and it's like trying to cook 10 meals at a time. It's too much. So I said that to him. I said, this feels like it's too much. Why don't we focus on 3 songs and really make them the best they can possibly be? And if it's good, go away and do another 3. But let's bite them off, bite-sized chunks, something we can really work with. And they kind of went for that. So I just thought it was best, it'd be best for me just to focus on 3 songs at a time.
Right.
And I picked those 3 pieces of music and gave them an identity, gave them titles, gave them a lyrical content, gave them a kind of a character, a persona, through the lyrics and everything. And everyone's really thrilled with what we did, so hopefully there's going to be more.
Right, so you've got to continue your analogy, you've got the crux of a solid meal there, because otherwise you've got too many dishes going on, something's going to be overcooked or underdone.
Yeah, well, most of my experience with making albums as well is, you spend so much time in the fucking studio just waiting for something to happen, and I'd rather walk in a room with something already happening. With the intention is you've already got it going on, you want to get it down, you want to get it out, you want to get, that kind of impetus drives you into the studio, I want to get behind the microphone, I've got something to say. I don't like walking into the studio when I've got nothing to say, and to be honest with you, the past 3 years of my life have been pretty rough, so I've been through quite a lot, and I brought a lot in the room with me. So I was in a really good space to, my kind of inner life really fit the music that I was hearing from Boris, and just a really perfect marriage.
Now, you chose 3 tracks that you guys did. Now, and today's the first day I actually got a chance to hear it,
oh, cool.
and the outcome is astounding. And I want to ask you a little bit more about future material here in a second, but you also added a 4th track, which is a cover of one of the Cult's tunes. Why did you pick that particular Cult song to redo with Boris?
Well, they did. They picked it. I had nothing to do with it. They said, we want to record Rain. I was like, what? They said, yeah, we want to do a cover of Rain. I was like, really? They were like, yeah, they wanted to do it. I had nothing. I didn't even mention it to them. That was their idea. So I was like, fine, go for it. They said, Watter's going to sing it. I was like, wow, that'd be amazing. It'd be amazing to hear Watter sing that. So they went away and did it. I had nothing to do with it. They just sent me it when it's finished.
So basically, it's just you were really into the collaboration on the 3 tracks, and the 4th track is just sort of, in a sense, their tribute back to you.
I think so. That's what it kind of felt like. I mean, they're very generous in that way. I think it was just an act of respect and generosity. They wanted to show something. So now I'm saying to Billy in the call, I'm saying, we should go record Pink, which I think would be great. That'd be amazing.
Well, as I said, the outcome is just wonderful, and I can't wait for everybody else to get to hear it, because I know it doesn't come out till I think September.
Yes, it's coming out in September. But apparently, I was told that it's the Mojo Underground album of the month, which is very exciting. And that's Mojo kind of got it on their radar right now in England. They've heard it and they're all over it. So,
right.
Well, I mean, fuck, I don't know, man.
But,
it's a labor of love. So.
Right. Well, and the best things come out of the things that you're most passionate about. So.
Yeah, the only intention for this project was that we create great art. That was it. That was the only intention, that we go in the room, that we work together in a very serious context, and let our intuition guide us, the intuition. So I'm really proud of the results.
And you mentioned this before, going in and doing, 3 or 4 tracks that you guys can really get around and make them something special. Does that mean that we can expect perhaps another 3 or 4 songs somewhere down the road?
Yeah, I think somewhere down the road. We've already been talking about like a second go at this. And it's also something that's, been a philosophy of mine for about the past year and a half, especially with the demise of the music industry, is like the best way to maximize time in the studio and recording and releasing music. I just think that with the attention span that most individuals have these days and how busy people's lives become and how much choice there is out there, I think it's more important to focus on putting out good music than a lot of music. I'd rather put out quality versus quantity, and so therefore the Cult have the same philosophy. We've just recorded 4 songs that are going to come out over September and October. So we're about to release songs. So there's going to be like Cult, there's going to be Boris.
Right.
And I think it's just a great way to work. And I also really encourage collaborations, because I think collaborations are really healthy. The audiences, bands that might not necessarily be exposed to each other's audiences or music, I think it's a great way of collaborating with other artists just to sort of, show that solidarity. I mean, in Japan they do it a lot. They do these things called split singles, where they'll basically be one band on one side and another band on the other side. It's a great way of doing things. And